Hello folks, and welcome to Hewitt Oaks. Today we're going to be making a smoked meatloaf. You know that a lot of you are doing a lot of time at home these days and probably getting a little stir crazy, so we're going to show you a great recipe here that you can cook at home, and you can make it last over a whole week. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and show you this now. So here we have 5 pounds of ground beef. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a bowl here and add our wet ingredients. So for our wet ingredients we have eggs, mustard, ketchup, and garlic and onions. So we're going to put this all in here. This is all pretty much measured out already. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and sweat my onions and peppers here. You want to go ahead and always sweat these a little bit and keep them chopped very fine, because you don't want to be going ahead and biting into your meatloaf and finding a big old uncooked onion. No. We're going to let that heat up for a second there. Now we're going to put our mustard in here. Now I always go ahead and mix everything in a separate bowl, get it all blended up, and then I add it to the meatloaf, the ground beef itself. It's just a lot easier to mix it all up that way. I have my pre-coronavirus gloves here, and we're going to get this all ready and then mix it all up. So I'll have the recipe for this that we'll send out with it. So this is a smoked meatloaf. So I have a few different ways of doing this. One is we can use liquid smoke, about 2 tablespoons of liquid smoke. That's in the recipe. The other is I take a cup, actually a cup and a half of chopped up smoked Gouda cheese, which I really like a lot. And then take 1 tablespoon of chipotle and put that in there. And you're going to mix this all up again. Then we're going to we have our onions and peppers that have been cooked up here. We're going to have our little bit of garlic here, about 3 cloves worth of garlic. Again, this is all in the recipe, so we're going to add a little salt and a little pepper. And we're going to take our vegetables that have been sweated down, add those in there. And now we're going to take this and add it to our ground beef. So we go ahead and mix this all up. This is the fun part. Now the good thing is, if you have a smaller family and you can't use the whole 5 pounds in one night, I get that. You can go ahead and just put this in a Ziploc bag, half of it, and freeze it and use it another time. So once we get this all good and mixed up, we're going to go ahead and take our panko breadcrumbs. I used unseasoned panko breadcrumbs. We add that in there. If you don't want to have any gluten in there and you're on the no gluten train, go ahead and just go ahead and don't add it and still cook it the same way. Not going to add anything different to it or include anything else. It won't stay quite as high. It'll come down a little bit, but it'll still taste amazing and still look very good. So once we have this all mixed up and together, we're then going to go ahead and put it on a pan and cook it off and hope that it tastes great. No, we're not. So what we do is, we call this the test quenelle. We always go ahead and take a little bit of the meatloaf and we put it into a pan and we cook it to taste it, because you're sitting there making this, and then after you've made it, you know, you're not sure how it tastes. So this is the best way. Just pick a little piece, cook it off, and taste it and see how well it tastes, how good it tastes. And this takes a couple minutes here. So with that, I'm gonna take off my gloves and cook this off. While I'm waiting to cook this off, so when I do the meatloaf, I go ahead and take the pan, but I put tin foil on the pan because I hate to clean pans. So you put the tin foil on there, and you go ahead and you make your meatloaf the same exact way. We'll show you how we're gonna do that in a second. But that way you can go ahead and just take the meatloaf off there later on, and just throw the tin foil away. And you still have to clean it, of course, but it's not that whole sticky mess. So our test quenelle is almost done. We have some bacon here we're going to be putting over the meatloaf. I'll show you that in a second. So once this is done, you just got to go ahead and get a little piece of it. Try it, taste it. It's on the money. Okay. We're going to go ahead now and form our meatloaf, and then put the bacon on there and get this ready for the oven. So like I said, you can freeze a bunch of this. What I usually do is make one and then freeze the other one. And no, you don't have to make it into a meatloaf and then freeze it. You can just put it in a Ziploc bag, you freeze it, and let it defrost when you want to use it, and reshape it. So we have our bacon here, it's already been pre-cut. And we take that and we just run down the meatloaf with it, like so. And you're going to cook this on at 350 for about an hour and 20 minutes, I believe it is. Yes. And so you just run the bacon all the way down. And again, this imparts a nice smoky flavor. And who doesn't like bacon? I mean, come on now. And that's what it's gonna look like when it's done. And like I said, we're gonna put that in the oven, 350 for about an hour and 20 minutes. And that's your meatloaf, your smoked meatloaf. Thank you for joining us today.